Hey, everybody, welcome to Happy Hour with Laura. I'm Tanya Stanley, and today's show is about a celebrity guest. Now, what makes her special is that she is part of the fashion and modeling industry, and she is a curve model. Her name is Laura Leonide. So, Laura is going to be joining us, and I'm super thrilled about this episode because I had to book her in advance. I had to speak to her and tell her, can you please come on my show? And it was like 1 or 2 months in advance. I used to follow her for many of the shoot scenes that I'd been in because she's now a very popular name in the fashion industry. She had been there for Namshi, Splash, now even Skims, Kim Kardashian's brand, and many, many more. And there's no stopping for Laura. So, Laura, what makes her so powerful in the industry is that she is using this platform to bring awareness to the girls about how beauty comes in all shapes and sizes. So, Laura is going to be talking to us about her journey and also about what exactly is confidence according to her. Another thing, so for this show, I had been asking all of my followers to choose one person who can really have a lot of questions to ask Laura. And that one person, the winner of that contest, was Arati. Hey, Arati, welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you, Tanya.
So how
Thank you for getting
excited
me
are
here.
you to meet Laura and speak with her?
Actually, very excited to be honest, because this will be my first interaction with a plus size model. And I'd really like to know what her thought process is and how the industry is. And I want to understand what happens there. And yeah, it's really exciting. And I'm really glad you gave me this opportunity. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm excited too. So we'll just wait for like a minute or two and then let's see.
Yeah.
I think Laura's here already. Let's get her in. So, hey Laura. Mute, mute, mute. You.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can. Okay, fine. I'm gonna trim that little bit and I'm gonna do the introduction part, okay? All
Hi.
right. Okay. Hey everyone. So we finally have Laura on the
Hi.
show. Hi Laura, welcome.
Thank you for having
Oh, it's our pleasure to have you on our show. And I was just telling everyone about how I had to speak to you in advance and then just get that 1 hour with the rest of us to speak to us. So thank you so much, Laura.
me. Thank you. Thank you for having, well, making the time basically as well. Thank you.
And I also want to introduce you to our follower who has been chosen to speak with you. And she's excited. She just wants to know everything about what's happening in the industry and like everything about it. So this is Arati Sunil, and she's also part of the
Hi.
show.
Hi.
Hi.
I think Arati is definitely a little bit shy.
Yeah.
Um, so Arati is not related to the fashion industry, so she's got definitely a lot of doubts on what happens behind the scenes about your journey. How did you enter the industry and all of that? So just like what I'd mentioned, Laura is part of the fashion and the modeling industry. And what makes her special is that she is a curve model. So, in the current situation where everyone's battling with whatever you see outside in the superficial world, it's hard to maintain that inner confidence. And that is what Laura does. She uses this platform and she's an influencer that talks about how beauty comes in all shapes and sizes and about what confidence exactly is. What exactly is perfect in the first place? Who told that this is what perfection looks like? Everybody is perfect and beautiful in their own way. So I'm excited to know about Laura's journey. How exactly did you enter this whole industry? Was this something that you always dreamt about, or was this like a complete surprise? What exactly happened?
So, very good question. So my background, actually is I use my core job. I used to work in marketing for like a big multinational back in Switzerland for like 5 years. And at some point, with my now husband, we wanted to just change country and see something else. So we moved here in Dubai a year and a half ago. And at that time, I felt like I wanted to do something else with my life, something more creative that looked a bit more like me. Not that I wasn't doing something creative, but just something new, right? And back in 2015, I always wanted to be a model. But I think in 2015, the market was not ready because I went to a lot of agencies in London, in Switzerland, in France. I've done a lot of casting, but none of them were interested with my profile at that time. Not because my profile was not interesting, but because there wasn't enough work. The market was just not ready. So I was like, okay, 5 years ago, it wasn't possible. Let's try now. So I just, yeah. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Right. Yeah.
Or
That's
so.
surprised. I mean, the fact that you mentioned that you tried and then you were so passionate enough to try again 5 years later. I mean, after a few rejections, people usually move on, right? It's hard to keep up with the passion. Like, that's amazing, Laura. So 5 years later, you tried again, and that was back in Switzerland itself, or?
So I tried first in Germany because for the plus size market, I would say the strongest market to make money to
Hmm.
work basically is in the UK and Germany. So I started again. I sent out my profile to a lot of agencies, and I participated to it was a contest on social media on Instagram
Okay.
with by IMG, which is like the
Hmm.
biggest modeling
Yeah,
agency, IMG,
that's right.
and they were looking for new models. I was like, okay, why not? So I just put a few hashtags on my pictures, and actually, there was an agent who contacted me from IMG Worldwide, and they were interested in my profile. And at that time, I was like, okay, it's not the right time to travel all around the world since I already had, my boyfriend at that time. And sometimes life do not allow you to like travel so much and just be like a teenager, 16-year-old who just starts in the business. So I was like, okay, well, worldwide it's might not be the right strategy at the time, but it was a good encouragement for me. It was a good sign. So
Hmm.
I sent out my profile to, I would say, 10, 10 agencies, and four of them came back to me right away, like within 2 days, saying, yes, we want to see you, we want to sign you. I was like, okay, woo, what's happening? So, and this is how it started. So I signed with an agency in Germany without seeing them. They just wanted to sign me. So it's not just,
Wow.
you don't have to go on a casting and be present like physically to be signed, not always.
Hmm.
So, and this is how it happened. So I got signed in Germany. I did a few jobs in Germany, and then I moved to Dubai. And I was like, okay, so let's do that here because I feel like my profile could fit the region as well, and it did. So I was signed with two agencies here. Well, I'm not signed, just registered, and yeah.
Wow, that's such an interesting story. I already have so many questions about it. So, one is that the fact that they
Mm.
signed you without even seeing you in real is because you were able to project that personality through your photographs, which is something that I see too. I had seen you in Namshi, I've seen you in all the other fashion brands that does the photo shoots, not from your profile. I actually saw them in the profiles that I see. So I follow CV, I guess that's how it's pronounced. Right.
It,
So in all of, and then there was another fashion, an athletic wear, athleisure as well. So
I could love that.
couture, right? Yeah, that's right. So I've seen in all of those, and you don't post about those pictures in your profile, but I see there, and the one face that's familiar to me is yours. Because even though there are so many models in the shoot, Laura, there is something about
Yeah.
you that stands out. There's this
Yes.
personality about you that stands out in the photo shoot, in the photographs, and that's amazing. So that's a big quality. I'm even seen behind the scenes of you in stories where you just change poses, like 10 different poses within a minute. I think Aarti should probably speak about it. I mean, one pose from Aarti
Yeah.
itself would be hard. So
No,
that's
it's true what you're saying. It actually amuses me how models are so active on the scene, backstage. They're just enjoying the whole process. That's the whole thing. Like, how do you guys enjoy it while you're working? How does it feel for you guys? Because normally work is not really enjoyable when you're doing backstage of it. Like it's always tense and what you see on these TV channels and everything. Like I used to be a huge fan of Project Runway and all these fashion shows that happen on TV, and I'll be like, wow, these models are really under so much pressure. Like, does that really happen, or is it just an exaggerated thing that we see? What really goes around in the backstage?
Yeah. So I feel like when we picture the fashion industry, it's really like tensed and very like we are under a lot of pressure, and maybe like the mood is a bit bitchy sometimes. It's true. It's true. But I can assure you, it's not always. It depends with who you're working with and
Yeah.
what you're putting out there, because what you put out there, you get back. So I think there is. And that's something I always say. I don't understand why sometimes models on shoot are like they're in their bubble and they don't even talk to anyone. They don't. They're not interested in knowing anyone, and they're just like they're here to do their job. But this is not how I picture how I see this job. And I think because I chose it like late in my life, kind of, because I didn't start it at 16. By the way, that's a point that I would like to
oh
talk about.
wow.
I started modeling at the age of 28.
Wow.
I know, right?
Honestly.
You know, at 28, Laura, it's like when you're from an Indian community, you're dead. It's like that's it. Now just make babies and then you're done. I mean, there's nothing much anyone expects out of you. So there's just so much we can learn from Laura. The fact that she's not given up at that point and the passion is still there. There's still that fire at that age. And like everyone starts at 16. And also, there's one more thing, Laura, you've got to tell them about your background. I mean,
Mm,
your ethnicity. That's going to
yeah.
surprise Aarti as well.
Yeah, I think already I am surprised. But yeah, please.
Originally, I was born and raised in Switzerland, but my parents are like a melting pot. My mom is from France, so she's mixed
Wow.
and Spain. And my dad is black. He's from Mauritius Island, but there is so many mixes of races. I love it.
Yeah,
Like you can see Indian and Chinese
honestly.
together. It's just amazing. But my dad is African and Indian both. So yeah,
Wow.
I told you that's
Basically, all in one, right? You're representing all of us actually.
I
that's right.
feel like I'm close to everybody.
Everyone can
Yeah.
relate to you too. So it's easy, right? When we speak about, I mean, if I have to talk about what happens from an Indian community, I know that Laura would understand, or from a black community, what happens, Laura would understand. So that is probably one of the things why you're so warm in the way you interact with people. There's no, like, you already know about a lot about the backgrounds as well, and probably that's why when you go for shoots, you're able to speak with everyone freely. You don't have to like keep that space. And I think most of the times people don't interact with others because of fear, because if they're afraid of how they would be perceived, or maybe they're afraid of not coming off in the right way, or maybe they're afraid that you would not be happy with them coming and speaking to you. A lot of people are afraid of things, even though they may be supermodels or the CEOs of the company. Everyone struggles with confidence. That's the truth. So it's not about the makeup, it's not about what you wear, it's not about the brands. Confidence cannot be bought. What exactly is confidence to you? How do you keep up with that? How are you so confident? It doesn't matter if you have makeup, if your hair is done or not done. You're always confident. There's never a time that Laura is never not confident.
It's true, though. First, I would say life is very short, so don't bother thinking of what people might think of you because at the end of the day, I mean, we have to experience life on our own. So yes, it's good to be surrounded by good people and everything, but you have to be good about yourself first. But I would say being confident is knowing your strength and your weaknesses, because no one is perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not. Once you do that and you allow yourself to not be perfect, nor even try to be perfect, then life is super easy. I swear to you. For me, confidence, I mean, it comes from so many things. Like, first, for me, and it's the most painful work, it comes from within, uh, from your childhood and all the childhood traumas and the experience you lived during your life. Because we all lived small or big traumas. We all did. Like, I don't know, just an example, something
Mm.
small, like your mother not supporting you for a side activity, a parascolar activity, or something like that, that might like trigger like a self confidence,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that that I mean, small or big traumas, we all have to work on them. So that's painful and that's a long process to do, but we have to be aware of that. And only after you worked on yourself and on even on your system values, because your family give you kind of system values, but so do the culture in which you grew up with, you grew up in. But then there is another work that you need to do, is that accepting or not the values you were given. uh, so all of that combined makes who you are and who you want to showcase to the world. And I would say, once you know who you are, what the values you believe in, what are the values you believe in, then only you can love yourself and truly feel confident. I would say that's the main goal, is like the work you have to do within yourself. So that's painful,
That's
but
amazing.
that's like the base.
Yeah.
How about we talk about the base?
That's amazing because
Yeah.
You need to look
it
at
does
yourself. Yes, tell
it
me, tell
does
me.
it does start with understanding what your flaws are, because that's just wow, Laura, that's so true. Because most of the people think that anyone who is confident, they're perfect, that they've got no flaws. But the truth
Mm.
is about it's about understanding what your flaws are and then accepting them. Once you accept your flaws, if someone else comes and throws that back at you, you're not going to be faced by it. Like someone says, right, you probably stammer when you speak. But if someone comes and tells, like you start a conversation and you say, yes, I stammer when I speak. So there's no pretense. You're not going to pretend
Exactly.
that you can't, because in within the next 1 or 2 minutes they're going to understand that you stammer. So once you just accept it and put it out there, you just become invincible. No one can put you down anymore, and it is about understanding what your flaws are. And the second thing what you mentioned is absolutely true too. There are many values that your society puts on you. They say that this is how it's done, or this is what you cannot do, these are the restrictions that you have, all of that. But then it's about understanding and questioning those. Fine, you are like all of these are put on you when you're from the time that you're born, because your parents, they didn't have all of the opportunities that we have to get all the information. So they just listened to what their parents said, what their grandparents said, what their aunt said, and they just believe it. They never questioned it. But in our generation, we have that power to question what's happening. Is this actually true? Like, do you think that, fine, someone says that you cannot start modeling after 20 years? Is that true? You questioned it and you went against what the norms are and you did it. So it's about understanding what your values are. And fine, so modeling means you'll have to do this is what is required out of you. And that's just assumed. Like everyone thinks that modeling, fashion industry is very intimidating for people. They think that there's a lot of bad stuff that happens behind the scenes and you've got to like compromise and do that and this and all of that. But no, you've got your values, you stick to the values and people respect you for that. So that's amazing. So, and also one more point where you said that I think majority of the insecurities that are instilled in you are by your own parents or your family members. I believe that.
The childhood. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Because
Yeah.
like it's not just me, everyone in it who follows me as well. They talk about it. I mean, when we say society wants us to get married at this age, society wants us to do that. But honestly, does society actually care about what we do? Like who exactly are you saying that society is? It's actually your mom and dad. Like your mom and dad comes and tells you you have to get married at this age because society is saying. And the thing is, there's no society, nobody really cares. In their mind, it's like they're still in that age where all of us were so close knit and we were all just living next to each other. At that point of time, probably it mattered, but right now we are all just scattered everywhere, so it doesn't matter what the society says. So that's amazing, right, Arti? What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, that's actually a very good, valid point what Tanya and Laura yourself had mentioned. Most of our insecurities come from within our families, like our moms or our dads would have told, "Don't do it; it doesn't look nice," or "Don't wear that dress; it is not suiting you." And you're immediately like, "Oh my God, okay, maybe I shouldn't." And then uh, somewhere in our lives, you come along, Laura, and then you tell us, "Be confident in whatever you are," and that's probably how we come out of our shells, to be honest. And yeah, that's actually a very valid point. And when you were talking, and it just hit me, a lot of those incidents that happened to myself as well. And it's so true. Yeah, very true. Not just with body shaming. I think it's with a lot of things, even career and jobs that you pick and your friends that you make. And it's so dependent on what your family tells you, and it's just instilled in your head. Yeah, yeah, it's actually very true.
And Laura, I have another question now. So this is a doubt that I have. When they say, so when you go for the shoots, right? There would be the other models as well. Have you come across a situation where they're given the same costumes, and then you've got, do you ever doubt yourself, or does it affect your confidence when you're in the shoots and you've got all the other models that are like skinny and like size 0, and then they're giving then there's you. So do you compare yourself, or if at all you do compare yourself, how do you break out of it? How do you come out of this? Because it's going to be different, right? In all the shoots that you go, they're all going to be skinny, they're all going to be size 0, and that is not the truth. I mean, regular people are never that size, right? No, normal people are they don't come in that size. So how do you break out of comparing yourself? Because it's so hard not to compare yourself to the people that you follow, to your neighbor, to your classmate, your colleague, to your cousins. How is it possible?
Okay, I have so many things to say to this. I would say it would work. Any everyone needs to do it because it's normal that we want to compare ourselves to others and to others, females and everything. I had to do this work when I was like 10 years old, but you might have to do it now, even at 30, 40 years old. What I had to go through is basically I grew up in Switzerland in a very small village where I was the only mixed race kid. The other girls were white with straight hair, blue eyes. And I always felt like I didn't belong. I wasn't like the others. So I always was this, like sheep. at some point in my life when I grew up. So I had to understand, plus the fact that I was the only one, that my mom is white. So I didn't have that, like, a, a woman to look up to in terms of beauty and, just, I wasn't like her. I didn't look like her. I didn't look like the other girls. So I had to learn very, very early in my life to accept that there are different type of beauty. So first, accept that it's okay not to be like everyone else. Actually, it's amazing. First. Secondly, I hope you can understand it's very important that there is a variety in beauties, that we cannot all look the same, otherwise it would be super super boring. That if we all like the same thing, we would all be single. So stop it.
True.
So there is that. Then back to the main question for the modeling industry. I remember the first time I went for a casting here in Dubai, and I was the only plus size. At that casting, we were like maybe 50 waiting in the corridor, and I was the only one coming. I inhaled, I looked around, and I laughed. In, I mean, not out loud, but I laughed, and I was like, okay, this is how it's gonna look like. Okay, because the modeling, the plus size modeling industry, the curve modeling industry isn't very well established yet. So I always have to break boundaries. I feel like I'm always breaking boundaries right now. I love it, but it's challenging. But I never, again, since I had to do that work very early in my life, I understood we have to look at ourselves in the mirror, look at what kind of beauty we have, and just accept it and love it. And if you have to look up for, we always follow celebrities to, just to keep up with the trend, the makeup, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Just like, example, Kim Kardashian, beautiful woman, but she doesn't look like me. So I'm not gonna compare myself to her. It's like if you were going to compare yourself to Gigi Hadid, beautiful woman, but blonde blue eyes. Why would I compare myself to her? Nor compare my body to hers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just find your inspiration, but something that looks like you, please, because otherwise you're just hurting
No,
yourself.
Laura, I think in the Middle East, I think that probably they even started diversifying. One of the main reasons I think would be you, because even if the brands want to diversify and even if they want to get plus models, someone who is as great as you is hard. Because if we find someone like you, right, you would want to shoot you. I think your personality in the shoots, like I said, is amazing. So having you in, like, you even the other models, there's no shine. Like, I'm not really sure how to explain it, but there's something about you that stands out when compared to the other models. So thank you, Laura, for fighting for all the girls here, because everyone wants someone to look up to, even though they may not
Yeah.
be, or none of us would be same, we don't look alike. And then that's what you are here, you're fighting, you're using your platform to go against the norms and to show the girls here. There's so many young girls who are fighting or who are suffering with self-esteem issues and self-confidence. Like, they are absolutely gorgeous girls, because I have done these meetings before, beautiful girls, and then they talk about how they're suffering with self-esteem. And when they even try talking about it, Laura, they choke, they're not able to speak up about it. They are so used to shutting themselves down and so used to not expressing what they want to talk about because of communication issues, or because they've always been told to just shut up and sit somewhere and not talk about it. And for them to see someone like you, Laura, I think, like, it's amazing. This is one of the reasons why I had wanted you in my show, because I wanted to hear from you. I wanted the girls to know what confidence is, because you don't look like the other models. And guess what? You look better than them. You look
Yeah.
better than
Yeah.
them.
Breaking stereotypes. Exactly. Yeah. True. What Tanya said is so true. You don't look like any one of the model figures that we think should become a model, you know?
That's amazing.
So,
And
yeah.
another question I wanted to ask too, Laura, is have you come across situations where you were bullied? Because everyone's different from you when you were a child, right? Have you come across situations like that? Something deaf you have? Oh,
Definitely, yes.
you
Of
don't
course.
you just seem so like
Confident.
if something bad's happened to you, people are just so bitter about it, and Laura is just happy. So how did you come
Keep on coming.
bring it on?
I'm ready. No, yes, of course I was bullied because again, I was the only one. Like I was first. I always been chubby my whole life. So age since the age of 5, I think I was chubby. So I was chubby. I was the only different mixed race kid. I was the tallest. I had boobs when I was 10 years old. Like everything. You, I had everything. But
Oh, lucky me.
but
Right.
you know what? I'm not proud to say that I was bullied. I was called a whale in all the names, and I'm not proud to say that. But uh, and I'm not saying you need to do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But um, I think I didn't become a bully, but I was very violent because I think in my 6-year-old head, I thought it's either I eat or I'm eaten, and
Right.
this is totally what I thought.
Mm.
And so I was very violent. Whenever someone said something, I would punch them. I was always fighting with boys in the during the break. My dad had to come after school. I remember at the end of the day to come and get me. Otherwise, I would get in fight, or boys would want to hit me again. I was a
Did you
nightmare.
win all the time? Like,
I
Sorry.
hope you did.
did you win all the time? Like, did you bash them up, or how is it? Was it the other way around? You bashed them up.
No, no, they came on to me like they were bullying me, and I was fighting back, but with my fist. So
The fighting back
Wow.
started at a very young age for you.
Okay.
I think I didn't have the intelligence back then to answer with words and be civil about it. But
Yeah. We've all been there, right? At least
yeah,
once fighting with
from
bullies.
yeah, from the age of 6 to the age of 14, I think I was really like a tomboy. I was very like always wearing boys clothing and hang out with boys, and yeah, no femininity at all. But
I
yeah,
totally relate to that actually.
You can relate to that, Arti?
Yeah, yeah. I was like that almost till my eighth grade. I would always have a boy cut and I would always be wearing boy clothes and fighting with boys. And I hardly had friends who were girls. So yeah, I can totally
Wow.
relate to that.
It sounds like you both bullied the other people. Like, that's how it comes out. It looks like it sounds like the others suffered because of you both. Right. And so next, so Laura, um, how can someone be a plus model? Like, what qualifies you to be a plus model? And what exactly is a plus model? Like, can I become a plus model? Can Arti become a plus model? How is it?
what is your size? I cannot tell from like the
Oh,
screen, but
it depends on the size. Okay, fine. So if
what?
you're
Yeah,
size 14 or 12,
12 you can. 14, yes, honey, you can.
oh my God, Arti, I can be a plus model, but I sometimes I fit into
I'm
12
getting
as
there.
well.
But
You're
you're not
getting
gonna
there.
get
I am getting there.
Okay.
nowadays. Anyone can be a model, whether it's just like full on regular model. I don't like that term, regular plus size curve, but that's another question though. Uh, we'll get
Yeah.
on to this one, but to answer how to become a model, I would say there are multiple points to take into consideration. So first, there is the age. So obviously, you do not have to start at the age of 16 to be a plus size model. I started at the age of 28, and it's completely fine as long as you have the energy and the will to do it and to do what it takes to do it, because it's a lot of work, obviously. So yes, a lot of models will start at the age of 16, 17, but I would say do not stress about the age. Finish your studies, like secure the bases, and then let's talk about it. Then there is the height. So the minimum height, though, there is one. Well, actually, no, because, well, okay. Minimum height in general for regular plus size, so straight size plus size, the regular size is a 5'6", 172 centimeters.
Okay, that's
I'm
fine.
a 1'8", 178
Aarti and I
centimeters.
got
Wow.
rejected already, right, Aarti?
Already. Yeah.
We
That's
already.
my point. I'm coming to you now.
Oh,
There is then there is another category. There is the petite, so meaning smaller model. But I haven't seen petite plus size model yet. Something to do. There is a space. I'm just saying.
we. You're right. So Aarti and I are the petite plus size model.
Next petite
Uh,
plus size
we would
model.
have to break another stereotype, Aarti, and that would require. I don't think
A whole new market.
a whole new.
I think it's needed because there are so many women who are short and plus size, and they need to see how it fits on the model as well. You know. Yeah.
That's fine.
So
Okay, so got it. Now that's we've gotten like a pretty
for the
good
height.
picture on the how to get on it. And for Aarti and I, so far there's no hope, but we'll have to like break it
Why? Why? No, no, no. Why? Why are you saying that?
because I'm 164 and 5'6" is like 168. I won't be able to grow
My
upwards,
is
but
172.
172. Yeah. Okay. That hurts. That hurts. Okay, cool. I get it. Now I understand why I got rejected all those times before. Because I had applied to for castings before when I was say 22 and all. I had sent all my pictures, but no one really called me. And I wanted to share this story, but I should have only after I become a model can I share my stories, right? So that didn't happen either. So anyway, that was good. Thank you, Laura. So now, Laura, there is so now two questions. Who is your role model when it comes to the modeling industry? Like, who is this model that you look up to, who you can relate to, or who you've tried to copy their path? I mean, not even copy, like get inspired by them. And also, does it offend you if someone calls when you enter the shoots and they say that okay, you are a model and you're a plus model? Like, do they do that even during the shoots? Do they say bring the plus model? Like, does it happen? And if it does, like, does it offend you? Because I had watched this TED talk by Ashley Graham where she talks about how she gets offended when they call her a plus model, like and when she approaches people and they ask her what exactly are you doing, she says that she is a model, and then they look at her and they judge her, and then she's like, okay, fine, whatever, I'm a plus model. So, like, she has to change her word every time, and that really has affected her confidence, and she fights against it, and she has to go against what people say, and then she hates talking about it. Like, she wants to be just called a model like everyone else. Have you come across such situations, and does it offend you?
Wait, that was two questions, I think. You started
Yeah.
with one, but I forgot.
Who you, who your role model
Yeah,
is?
model.
Um, to be frank, I do not have a role model in the modeling industry because I like to see my life as at a bigger picture. So I prefer like looking at people's story, but not particularly at the modeling career. You know what I mean? So I would say I love Tony Robbins' life story, for example. I love to go to his events and that's kind of that type of thing, but not a model role model, I would say. And then to answer your other questions, I get where she's coming from, and I'm living exactly the same situation every time I have to introduce myself to a shoot where I don't know no one, where I know nobody. I have to tell them, if I tell them, like so many times, people are coming to me like, "Are you a model?" Yes, I'm a model, plus size model. You know, like we are so many models on shoot, and they were like, "Are you a model?" Yeah. You know, and you have to explain you are the plus size model. So yes, I do get where she's coming from. But to be frank, I don't mind either. Plus size curve is okay. Of course, I would prefer just the same model for people to understand that yes, there are so many different type of model. Yes, of course, I would prefer for people to just say model, but because us humans, we've always needed boxes. It's a way for us to try to understand the complexity of the world. So you have to be like the bigger person in that type of situation. Our obsession with putting things in boxes is very limiting for ourselves and for everyone around us. But we need to learn to relabel these boxes and create new ones. But again, I think it takes time, and we're such at the beginning of the plus size modeling industry and just different type of modeling that it's okay for now if we still have to, explain to people. I think it's okay.
You're
But
the generation that is bringing about the change, because now it's like even regular people, they want to see that sort of a diversification that is done in brands, without which they would not be able to associate with the brands. It's just become so important that the brands diversify the models and they diversify the people that represent the brand, so that everybody can relate to them. And that's such a wonderful age that we are in. So people like you would be probably the ones that would have to go through what you're going through right now, but it's because of you that there are girls that you are able to dream now, and they know that there's no limits, sky is the limit, and that's because of what you are going through and what you're doing for the rest of the girls. That's amazing. So
thank you.
next I want to ask about um, so if I have to ask you, what exactly are the kind of opportunities that you see in the Middle East? Do you think there are more opportunities in the Middle East than in Europe, the other countries? Like, do you see a difference in the market? Like, you mentioned that they're just bringing about a change, and also, would you like, how small or big is this industry like? Like, do you know all the other models, the plus models in there, or uh, like what is it like? So we just want to get a little behind the scenes of the industry here. So in case someone wants to become a plus model, they know that this is the sort of competition that you have. So
Okay, so in Europe, I would say the plus size scene is quite well. It started like 5 years ago, so there is many opportunities there, and I would con. I mean, if I had to give an advices to any girl who would like to start in the modeling industry, I would tell them to start with Europe, because here in the Middle East there isn't many opportunities, and if there is, we're already, I would say, 4 to 5 plus size women here in the UAE working, and it's not even easy to to make a living out of modeling at the moment, especially here in the Middle East, because it's not as well paid as Europe, but this is the case for plus size and for straight size model. It's harder to live off modeling in the UAE than in Europe. So definitely widen the opportunities and go for Europe for sure. Europe and Obviously, at some point in my life, I would love to work in the US, but this is again another level because to be represented in the US, you have to have like 50 different clients and proofs of magazine cover and that type of thing. So it's not that easy to go in the US.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's harder here, and it would definitely be more helpful if you have other, like it's if it's just a side hustle. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Or else
definitely.
you'll have to really work hard the way you are. I've seen you go for every other week you're going for a casting. So probably that's
Definitely.
another way. Do you go for is there a time where they have not like how do they call out for the models? Like how does the casting happen? Like do they say have you been to any project where they didn't ask for a plus model but then you applied and then they called you and decided that there's a need for it?
No, usually whenever you go to a casting, they know way in advance that they want to plus size or not
All right.
first. And the thing is, even for me in the Middle East, I have to look for my clients myself. Yes, I'm represented by a few agencies, but a lot of my work is actually coming from the clients I found myself, because people still didn't. It's not that they don't know, but they just didn't think about the fact that they would need a plus size model.
Mm,
That's the thing.
yeah.
So you have to just inspire people, just to remind them, hey, we're here.
That's true. And most of the businesses work that way too, right? I mean, the customers don't know if you want a certain product, but you've got to keep telling them that this is what we do. You've got to do it.
Marketing,
Yeah. Oh, you're
creating
from the marketing
the
Your
background.
marketing background, yeah.
Call Laura. What a perfect package. You
Actually,
know,
that's another question I wanted to ask as well. Does your marketing background really help you with your current career choice?
definitely. I think I look at myself as a product every time I have to sell the product. Like you cannot be like, I don't take things personally, whether a client doesn't like my image or doesn't like. I don't take it personally. It's just business. You're a product. That's it. Really. Like my core job is marketing, so of course I will always look at myself as a product. But this is definitely something anyone would like to start in the modeling industry should do as well. You need to highlight something interesting about you, that make you different, even if it's unconventional. Something interesting. I don't know, like unconventional because you want to stand out, like the bushy eyebrows of Cara Delevingne, or I don't know, like a gap in your teeth, or maybe do you have vitiligo? For my side, it's the curly hair and the freckles that usually people like because it's not usual. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's basically it helps you define what you can do in the modeling industry. Like, would you like to do something more editorial, high fashion? Do you think you have the profile for that? Or do you feel like you could do more commercial work? Meaning, do you look more like girls on ASOS or Pretty Little Thing, or do you look like girls on that are on editorial on Vogue? This is how you can really define what you're gonna work in, what you will be good at, basically.
that's definitely a lot of marketing, right? I mean, you're looking at the technical aspects. You're looking at which who your competitors are, which segment you fit into, and
Yeah.
it requires strategic planning and thinking, which is what Laura is using from her marketing background to enter the industry. So I'm sure that marketing has definitely helped you in many ways. Do you do marketing now as well, or is it like you completely quit the career, or
I quit for now, but I think I'm gonna start again at some point, or just as a freelancer, somehow. Yeah, because I know I've learned a lot, especially in those multinationals. So
yeah.
I'm sure I could help a lot of businesses here as well.
And you're really good at it because You have marketed you as a brand, and you're doing really good at it. Personal branding and marketing, you're really good at it. So, Laura,
Yeah.
I would love to ask you so many more questions, but
Mhm.
unfortunately, due to time constraints, not for me, but for Laura, because of how busy Laura is, we would have to wrap up. And this is my last question to you, Laura. If you have to give any advice to the girls who are following us, all the girls who are look up to you, what would you tell them? The girls who suffer from self-esteem, from confidence, or basically what your life motto is. Just what do you want to tell them as your as an advice?
So I think we talked a bit about this at the beginning, but I would say my life motto is your energy introduces yourself before you even speak. So make sure you,
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true.
so make sure you work on yourself first because this is the hardest part. But trust me, once you're done with this and you're happy with who you are, you're happy with your values, you know who you are, and you can give the best to people. I mean, this energy is it's gonna flow. Like whenever you put out there, it's gonna come back. Whether maybe it's not modeling that will work, and it's fine. Maybe something even better will come out, of this work. So for me, it all comes from within. Really, it's not about having the perfect teeth, the perfect nose.
Mhm.
No, no, because nowadays people want unconventional beauties. Really, no, it's way more than that.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Laura. That's
Yeah.
powerful.
Thank you.
About your energy that introduces you first, and that's true. Like every time, you're just you entering a meeting room or just even a Zoom event, Laura, there's something that shines about you all the time. Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for
Thank
taking the
you
time
so much.
today. It was a
Thank
real
you.
pleasure to
So
talk to you.
love yourself first and let your energy
Yes.
use you, and then just conquer the world. Thank you so much. Love you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Aarti. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Tanya. Bye.
Bye.
Can I take the thing out? Just hold her 1 second.